So yes, this will be a presentation about the bugs found in the security solution, enterprise-grade solution. The story, how we did root it. The second title is bugs are everywhere. And a quick question, what happens when you type in bugs are everywhere into the Google image search? You get bugs. Disclaimer. So at first, the opinions expressed here are only mine. Like, if I'm saying that somebody is doing something wrong, this is my opinion. Nobody else. I don't impersonating anyone. Second, the presentation purpose is just to educate everybody. Following slides are the result of security research. Of course, done by accident, but still a security research. No animals were harmed, and playing with malware is a bad idea. Basically, who am I? I graduated physics on Warsaw University of Technology, and because of studying right there, I developed the curiosity how the things are working, how the environment, the world is built, and the knowledge about the universe and stuff. Like, I know why the answer for everything is 42. Later on, working 7 years in CERT Polska allowed me to develop skills and gain combat readiness to analyze stuff, to play with malware. I had the opportunity to work with a lot of great people. Some of them are here. Here, yes. With some of them, I'm still working in my new job. So I'm still trying to fly with Dragons. Dragon Sector's CTF team. And now I'm working in the corporate environment and having fun corporate way still. So who are you? Is there any security guy here, girls? Or bug hunters, because part of this presentation is for bug hunters. Any bug hunters? People who hunting bugs day by day, earning money for bread, doing that? Okay. So first of all, it happens to everybody. Everyone. When you create a piece of code yourself, I mean a human is creating a piece of code, you will create a bugs, because this is the byproduct of being a human. Big examples, F5. This is something, if you have enterprise-grade servers, you need to route your HTTP traffic, and probably you are using F5. 52 CVE in the last year, 11 this year, so they have bugs. Microsoft, a very good example. Like, even since they started developing operating systems, they implement bugs right there, maybe for fun. Adobe, another great example. Probably they had a lot of fun implementing their own standards. Antiviruses, Symantec, McAfee, Trend Micro. You just can try to Google exploits for antivirus 2017. CPU manufacturers. So this year we learned that you can have a bug in a CPU. So probably somebody who is designing those tiny copper wires did the job wrong. So, and you can try to patch it using software, but still the bug is inside the great plan of the CPU, like millions, trillions of wires, and some of them are done in the wrong way. If I'm correct, today will be another release of the CPU bugs, 6 or 7 of them? 8, okay. So, but, okay, tomorrow we'll have fun. What about us? What about my company, my bank? I'm working in a bank. Do we have bugs? Do we have bugs in my code? Okay, of course the internet will say, no, banks are safe, but try to Google for it. Somebody found a bug, but we fixed it in 72 hours. I'm very proud of that, because we managed to, in the 72 hours, we managed to identify the bug, put it through the fix, through the chain. So int environment, UAT environment, quality environment, production environment, and do the analysis if there are any victims. So if somebody abused this bug, and everything was done in 72 hours, so it is doable in the big corporate concrete environment. Motivation. Bugs are often not funny. Some are funny, like vulnerabilities in WordPress are funny. Especially those bugs in security solutions are not funny because what is worse than lack of security? The false sense of security. So you think you are safe because you have FireEye, Kaspersky, whatever, put any name there. So we are safe because, look, half of the rack is filled with security solutions. The product. What I will be talking about. Forcepoint Bundle, so-called WebSense. This is a group of security products. The first, we have a email gateway, so the product that is filtering your emails that are going in, going out. Web gateway, so HTTP proxy, able to do a content filtering, SSL stripping, and of course we can add DLP to everything. So it looks quite decent. I do like that partially because you have everything integrated into one piece. Like you don't need to write rules for emails, outgoing emails, incoming emails, and web filtering in a few separate places. You can do it once. The process of reporting. This is quite important part because I was not quite confident about this process. So we managed to break version disclaimer number 2. We managed to break version 8.1, and now there is 8.5 on the market. So they did release a few in this time, but still during the process of reporting, which was September, this version 0.1 was supported. What did we report? We sent them 5 PDFs containing bugs about PEM, web gateway, admin interface, mail gateway, and general bad practices. I will not talk about the general bad practices because this is like standard stuff, like do not hard code passwords into your code. They did. Use modern cryptography. They use DES. Who is using DES now? I don't know. But I will try to talk about those first 4. We reported that we sent them those PDFs at September, at the end of September, and we clearly mentioned that we will disclose that after 90 days or longer. I tried to consult about those 90 days with my friends. For example, for Google Zero, I thought, okay, those guys are reporting a lot of stuff, so probably can share with me our experience. Okay, should I put the 90 days? So this is like not a random decision of ours. Immediately the same day we got acknowledged. Okay, thank you for the report. We'll contact you later. A few months later, at end of December, we still didn't receive a clear acknowledgement that okay, we receive your email, we test all the vulnerabilities that you mentioned, and we confirm that I don't know there is only one that is still exploitable. And to be honest, we didn't receive any exact information what they are planning to do. Do they planning, I don't know, notify the customers, release, fix it in a new version, whatever. One of the things they receive, okay, you can try to retest it in new version. Okay, so I am as a customer, as a researcher, I'm allowed to test a new version and inform them if their new version is still vulnerable. So for me, quite misunderstanding. Luckily, after a few escalations, at end of the January, we received a list of identified vulnerabilities, 12 items. They sent the 12 items that we do acknowledge that we received those 12 items. Nevertheless, a lot of unanswered questions and hard feelings to the process. But let's go to the bugs. First, the trivial one, the Triton. The Triton is the part of this bundle that is used to manage all the components. So you can do the admin clicking here. So I want to block emails containing Viagra. Apply. It is sent to your infrastructure, and the emails containing Viagra are blocked. If you have a new appliance, so you ship a new for you server into the rack, and you want to add it to your existing cluster, you can do it here, like add another server. You're typing the IP address of the server. You're typing the username, the password, and out of curiosity, I say, okay, what happened when I type in a backtick in the username? After visiting the server, server was sleeping for 60 seconds. So maybe not something awesome, but this should not happen, especially that it is visible that they passing this parameter unsanitized multiple times. So the server was freezing for 220 seconds or more. Okay, but they said, okay, this is lame because you already had an admin to this Triton stuff, so you're injecting command as an admin. Pff, everybody can do that. Another part, the personal email manager, so-called PEM, this is the marketing bullshit from the PDF, from the vendor. Basically, this is the quarantine for the emails. So if the email gateways will classify something as a malicious, spam, suspicious or something, it is putting the email to the quarantine, and later user can browse the quarantine and see what kind of emails were blocked. For example, if a very important email from CEO was blocked, it can be released or delivered to the inbox. So this is how it looks. You see that there is a list of messages, nothing special. This is the preview of our email sent. We see that we have headers, content, nothing special still. What about the features? One of the features, you can view the blocked email content. And this point my attention because you are viewing content of the email that was classified as potentially malicious, okay? Keep going. You're viewing content of the email in HTML, okay? Why do you even try to render potentially malicious emails in real HTML? Because you're not in Outlook, you're in browser. About the bug we found. In PEM web interface, when the email content is displayed, there's literally no limit. Even Outlook is more restricted in a way that of rendering HTML running JavaScript. What is funny, you can craft the email that will click deliver myself when viewing the email, when you are viewing, the victim is viewing the email. And one thing, the security policy of the browser may be less restrictive because the PEM, this web interface, is served from the intranet. So you already managed to bypass all those firewalls, proxy servers, and stuff that is filtering the malicious traffic. You just deliver and render it in the user browser in the intranet. But there is one condition. Your email needs to be classified as spam or malicious. How would you do it? I just put a lot of penis and Viagra into the email and it worked. Every single email containing this stuff is marked as spam, pharmaceuticals. So let's look for the example. Little blurry. So we have a email content with URL image loaded from the external web page and the iframe pointing to some resource in the internet. We are sending that. This is how it looks in the PEM. So everything was rendered. The content was downloaded. Of course, the user needed access to outgoing traffic, but there was an attempt to fetch the content. And inside the source of the web page, there is a plain HTML, so you can do anything. For example, you can do a JavaScript injection into this interface. But okay, XSS is not fun. Let's go deeper. How do you handle the email with attachment, and the attachment is the graphic file that is rendered inside the email? Do anybody of you knows how to do it? So you can try to embed external resources. So like load this image from cdn.com, whatever. You can add inline attachments like base64 encoded inline image, but the content of the body of the HTML is growing really fast then. And you can use something called keidii URI scheme. So you can make a reference in the email body. You can make a reference to attachments. Very very tricky, very like 80s. So following RFC, it looks like that. So we are creating a URL to keidii double dot and the name of the resource, and later on you just need to name the attachment. Content ID equals foobar or whatever. But how will you do it in the real browser, in the HTML mode? Because when you are rendering email in the browser, you don't have the attachments, so you need to like fix those. The browser don't know how to handle keidii URI scheme. So let's make a test. So we send a message with image source equals keidii blah blah blah, and there was an attached image at the end here. What was the effect? Okay, the Nyan cat was rendered inside the HTML mode. So some magic happened at the bottom at the server. So you can see that the URL, the keidii, was replaced with the path to some file on the web server. So you're literally storing the attachments on the web server and then presenting them to the user. Okay, let's try to exploit that. We created the email. This is the important part. The email contains iframe, and the iframe is leading you to normally to the attachment, but in HTML, in browser, it will not work. So what we'll get? Okay, and this is the attachment. Please notice the original file name. This is JSP file, not GIF, not PNG, not graphic file. Let's try to render it. And if you decode base64, this is something that you can find in the internet, like a web shell. So when you open the email in the browser, it looks like that. And okay, very interesting. I just type the first command that you type in the unknown environment. Some propositions? ID, yes, exactly. Who am I? Like, am I nobody? No, you are root. So basically, to root this appliance, you need to send yourself an email with a lot of spam and Viagra and iframe. But they fixed that, hopefully. New versions, they will not implement it again in the new version. Another bug number 3. I was setting up a web server running on a localhost on some random hyport. Normal daily job, like you're developing a tool is serving HTML page, you're starting a web server in Python, Java, whatever. And I open a corpo browser, Internet Explorer of course, type in HTTP, blah, 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 hit enter, and internet cannot display the page. What the fuck is going on? This is the normal user reaction, and ticket to the IT. But I'm not the IT guy, I'm the security case, okay? A lot of FSCK, netstat, and debugging later. A very obvious conclusion. Any hints from the audience? No. I set up a proxy in the wrong way. I didn't check the box, bypass proxy server for local addresses. So the question is, where did my HTTP request go? So we are launching HTTP request here. It is forwarded to proxy because this is the setup. Standard setup proxy is receiving all the HTTP requests. And the proxy is thinking, where is the localhost for me? Of course, the localhost is the proxy itself, but still, to be able to like do something with that, you need a TCP port to be open. Like you need something to be listening on the localhost. Sorry for hand notes, but I was researching that with old school techniques. This is the list of the ports that were open on the localhost. Some of them were like TLS wrappers for others, etc., etc. So 20 or more TCP port, I think half of them answering with HTTP. So we already got HTTP. So this is the example of the exploit. You're sending HTTP request to a localhost port 8880 with using your corporate browser. Just you mistype the one setting key. And you get the configuration of the appliance. And of course, everything was running as root, so you just need to find a valid method. So with the lowest possible user rights on the endpoint, you're able to exploit the web gateway this way. And they fixed that, luckily. Bug number 4. But first, a short story. At some point of the time, they ask, I received the email, how can we change the font of the disclaimer that is attached at the end of each email? So some of you probably work in the great big corporation, and you know that when the email is going out, you need a disclaimer. This message need to be delivered to recipient only. If you are not the recipient and reading this email, please delete this email and our lawyers will contact you, blah, blah, blah. Like the huge portion of the text. Yes, you need to protect the environment, don't print this email, blah, 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 save people, don't make harm, whatever. First question, why did it reach me? Like, why I am not the guy responsible for the color of the font in the disclaimer. Literally, this is quite obvious, like you change the font. You go to the UX developer, ask them for a piece of HTML code with different color, and everything should be working. But yes, one remark, my team is known in our corporation as the people that know how those tiny things in the computer works. So it sounds trivial, but we often receive a lot of, maybe not a lot of, we often receive a requests like, okay, nobody knows how the stuff is working. Maybe you have a slightly idea how this is working, how to fix that. So this is the normal way how the email is going out. So the PC is contacting Exchange on any other mail server. Mail server is sending it to the world by mail filtering. So for example, this mail gateway appliance. And of course, you have a bonus. You have servers. And because of legacy reasons, because of change of the environment, because of whatever, servers are sending emails not through the single point, but they are like some of the connected to Exchange, some connected to a web gateway, some are like sending emails by, I don't know. So it happens that we identify that the disclaimer is attached on this mail gateway. In the Triton, so in this fancy interface that you configure everything, you're able to edit the content of the disclaimer, but you're not able to change the style. So you could put the Polish version, the English version. There is no limit on the length, so you can like put the environment disclaimer, the privacy disclaimer, whatever you want there. We are counting on the fact that, okay, maybe it is not doable from the interface, maybe there is a config file or whatever So we'll be able to change the config file, and then the font will go from blue to silver. Because we already got root, we made a very short one-liner that will try to find the file where the configuration of the color of the font is. Okay, so we run it. Unluckily, it was hard-coded in the binary file, but okay, so we failed. But they already led us into the server, so let's type some commands. Let's see what is happening in the kernel, the mask. Pong, pong, pong. Okay, you have 1,000 seg faults in your logs. Okay, this is normal people reaction is something is crashing, IT needs to fix it. But we are not the normal people, we are the security guys. So we see that something is wrong, literally wrong there. We knew that stuff is crashing, but we didn't know where. So from the logs, we saw that process name keidii is crashing in this library. This process is created by a process called filter, and process filter is created by some modified postfix version. So, okay, so we see that probably when the email is filtered, analyzed, something is crashing. So, yeah, related to mail processing, and we try to Google for keidii, MWX, whatever, and we found out that this is a library developed by HP, the company that is doing the broken notebooks. Sorry. My personal feeling, I don't like this company. So they wrote a library, and this MWXSR is Microsoft Word XML something reader. So makes sense if you already find it in the internet. More Google later. This is library to parse multiple file formats and extract the content for example, for DLP. So you have, when you're sending dots, it is extracting the content to see that if you are not shipping the, I don't know, bank secrecy or whatever. You're sending Excel, PDF, many of those file formats. Anybody, when you look on those file formats, anything come to your mind? A lot of CV was discovered, for example, by Cisco Talos in those. And for me, like the Adobe itself implementing the PDF format made a lot of mistakes. And if you are making a product that is implementing PDF, .6, zip, every file format that were exploited over a few years, you are brave. Going back to the seg faults, they were crashing when they were trying to access the memory at the addresses like that. So anybody on the audience, can you tell me what is visible when you look on these hex characters? 10 seconds. 9. No? There are strings, ASCII strings. So 20 is a space, 3A is a big letter T or something like that. So every time the process is crashing, it is crashing, and when trying to access a memory where the address is ASCII. So this is clearly something done wrong with parsing documents. And we need to find those emails. We managed to find those emails by correlating the date of the crash, date time of the crash with the logs from the exchange. Got the email, tried to got the raw email with attachment, tried to pass it through the solution, it crashed. Okay. So it is. Can we repeat that? Yes, success. We tried to minimize the corpus because the attachment was a .x document having 60 pages. So clearly not good material for like analyzing what is wrong with the parser. We managed to minimize the code almost to one line, So you had the picture inside the Word document with a too long description. And the server was crashing when there was too long description, I think 124 characters or more. Then we need to try to read the faults to like understand what is the logic behind. But reading segmentation fault logs is boring. I wrote a code. Normally you see something like that. After parsing you see something like this. This is like just a little bit enriched. So first of all, we can see that the tool is interpreting the memory address as a string. So we can .is colon here. Additionally, if you give this tool a path to the binaries, so if you extract the binaries from the server and put it to the directory when the tool is, it can try to disassemble the binary file and tell you, okay, this is the line where the assembly code crashed. In our case, we are crashing in the line where this call AEX plus some offset. So the first thing, we probably have remote code execution by free because we don't need a rope gadgets or anything else because we already have an instruction that is calling the address that we control. So a few hours later, we will manage to develop the exploit. The input was that we are putting in the address what we want to call, and later on the software was crashing just at this address. And of course everything was running as root, so exploited. What is very funny, to trigger this bug, you don't need anything because you need to send the email with attachment to even not existing email in the corporation that is protected with this solution. So you just prepare the exploit, send it randomly, and you take over the control of the mail gateway of the whole company. Luckily, they fixed that. Closing credits. The summary. We did not perform a penetration test of the solution. So everything we discover was discovered by accident, like we misconfigured the proxy. All bugs were discovered by curiosity and accidents, as I say. Everything, seriously, everything on each component of this solution was running as root, with one exception. There was a Postgres database running locally, and the Postgres database was running on the Postgres user, just because the Postgres out of the box is dropping the privileges. But everything else was running as root. So if you take over any kind of piece of this solution, you are root. We managed to break version 8.1. There is 8.5. A lot, seriously, a lot was improved inside. And a lot was fixed, not even stuff that we reported. Conclusion number one, never, please, if you have any influence on the developers, product managers, never run stuff as a root. You have thousands of ways to elevate the privileges if your solution is needing that, but never run stuff as a root because this defense in depth methodology said, okay, drop the privileges, limit the access, limit the scope. If you need read-only access, work as a user that has only read-only access, not as the most privileged account on your system. Never trust user input, especially if you just classify this user input as malicious. Well, this is like quite obvious. Don't ignore your crashes. The piece that was missing on those servers was a process, for example, that was looking if something crashed and then reporting this crash back to a vendor and say, okay, our solution is broken. What is funny, when the mail analyzer crashed, it was marking the email as clean. So additionally to exploiting the web server, the email got passed through all the detection mechanisms. Keep your API under control. Authorized calls, all of them, even if you expose API on the local host, you never know who is on the local host, and you never know when you will, by accident, expose the API to the local or wide network. If you are implementing parsers of complex file format, good luck with that. Adobe had a problem with that. If you are implementing parsers with many, many complex files, you're seriously crazy and very brave. And final conclusion, if you claim to have bug reporting program, handle it. Forcepoint on the official web page is claiming to have the product security incident response team. And on the description, it is said that this is the team that is dedicated for receiving a feedback about the products, about the vulnerabilities, about the misconfiguration, misfunctionality, and handling it. 3 tips. Evaluate the submission. Give the feedback to the guy that is reporting. Be responsive, be precise. Tell exactly what is going on right now, because we just put those emails with the reports to the black hole. We didn't receive, in my opinion, any constructive response from them. And be honest. If you, for example, not planning to fix it because in the 2 months you are releasing a new version, tell it to the researcher, because we didn't know what is happening. Especially that for a very short period of time, we were using this version with a lot of remote root vulnerabilities. And my personal feeling about all the whole experiment. Thank you very much. That's all. If you have questions. Any questions?
Hi, I've got a quick questions regarding this memory corruption. There were no ASLR, right? Because
no.
Yes, okay. So that's all.
There was literally no obstacles. So first of all, we did control the instruction pointer, because let me go back there. Okay. We controlled the instruction pointer because there was a call with a parameter. We controlled the parameter. Second, there were a lot of libraries that were loaded on the fixed addresses. So we didn't need to guess, for example, addresses, because the legacy libraries were loaded on the same address all the time. Second, I don't remember if there were any, I don't know, stack canaries or ASLR there, but it was quite trivial. The only thing that we needed to do is type in to this tool a correct address, and there was a lot of gadgets all around. But you didn't need to build a stack-based, so rope chain, because you just need to specify, go there, call it this procedure.
Yes, yes. Thank you for explaining. Yeah.
Other questions?
Okay, I also noticed that you mentioned that it was a product with many features. You explored the mailing analysis. Have you or your team also explored the just web content analysis? Because I seem to know the product, and it also implements the SSL traffic inspection and so on. So
yes, so basically this keiview library is used by any kind of channel to do the content as content inspection. So if you probably we didn't test that. As I mentioned, we didn't perform a penetration test. It was like an accident. Probably 99% sure that if you send this .x file, it will also trigger the bug, because the library underneath is the same.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks very much. If you have a question, I will be still here. I will try to put my presentation on the Twitter on x33fcon, so you can have fun in home. Thanks very much.